back to another episode of Between You and Me. We are back with another What Would I Do question episode. This is where you guys send in your things you need advice on, situations you're in, anything that could be stressing you out in your life to get a little advice from me. I love doing these because it feels like I actually get to interact with you guys and talk to a friend as if they were asking me for advice, which at the end of the day is really why I wanted to create this podcast. So please continue to ask me questions. I love them. I appreciate them. It's questionsbetweenyouandme@gmail.com. You're also free to DM me if it's easier for you, Between You and Me podcast on Instagram. And then of course, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. So I did receive a good amount of questions. They are all relatively long, which is fun because we get to really have a good in-depth story. We get to have a lot of detail, which makes it even easier for me to give advice on it. So I'm very happy for that. That's what the email's for, so that you guys can type away. So I'm excited to get into it. I didn't really give you guys a little intro of today, but I don't think that really matters. If anyone cares, I'm extremely stressed out today. I waited till the end of the day to record this, and then I forgot that the time change happened and the sun's literally setting as we speak. So we have another very studio lit podcast episode, which I don't know if it looks bad or not. I forgot to color correct my first episode, and after that I've been so self-conscious of the lighting of these episodes, but if you're listening, then none of that matters. I'm on day 1 of my period, so I'm in a lot of pain. When I'm recording this, it is the day that elections came out and Trump is president, and I don't want to get into politics, but if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen a couple things that I wrote, and although I'm Canadian, I feel very affected just in a human sense. So we're in a bit of a weird mindset today, which is why I want to just kind of let it go, take a breath so I can give you guys the best advice that I can today, and let's just get into it. Okay? All right, the first one. So these are long, bear with me. I've been with my boyfriend for about 3 months now, and although I pursued him pretty intensely before we started dating, it felt amazing to finally be with him. He's always been super affectionate and supportive when I'm feeling insecure, and patient during my rough moments. After a month together, I suggested he move in. At first, he wasn't into it, but not long after, he started staying over more frequently and even began helping with rent. He also suggested we share our locations through an app, which I thought was great for peace of mind. But now, if the app glitches or shows me somewhere unexpected, he becomes paranoid and starts arguments. He follows me around the house constantly and wants us to do everything together. Since we didn't talk much during the time I was chasing him, I'm only now getting to know him on a deeper level, and I'm starting to feel suffocated. He relies on me for so much, from reminding him to handle basic hygiene to helping him manage his finances. While I still see him as my dream guy, his clinginess and obsession with keeping tabs on me are wearing me down. I can't even go out with friends without him getting upset or accusing me of things he knows I wouldn't do. I get that he has a history as a player. In quotes, he even hooked up with a few of my friends before we got together. So maybe that's why he has trust issues, but it's exhausting. I feel torn. I genuinely care about him and I don't want him to leave, but his controlling behavior is making the relationship toxic. I've tried talking to him, but he says things like, "So you don't actually want a committed relationship? Or you just want to be able to do whatever you want?" It feels manipulative, like he's giving me an ultimatum: be controlled or be single. I don't want him out of my life. I just want a balanced relationship. But I worry that we've gotten so used to this dynamic that we don't even recognize the toxicity anymore. How can I find a way to make this healthy, or is it even possible at this point? Damn, that one was juicy. Where do I start? First of all, what really rang in my ear, that you saying you have to remind him of things like basic hygiene and helping him manage his finances. I feel very torn when I hear you say this, because what it feels like your role has turned into here is a mother, not a partner, not a girlfriend. So I completely understand why you feel suffocated, because you've not only taken on the role of the girlfriend, but you've also taken on the role of the leader, which traditionally is kind of against the norms of a masculine and feminine relationship. The masculine energy being someone who has more of a leading standpoint, can direct you, can guide you, and obviously has other qualities, but like these being important qualities that they should have. And then the other side of it, which is a more caring and nurturing energy, and that would be the feminine. It seems like you have to take on both roles, because one, you're needing to give him all this reassurance based on his insecurities, which isn't a bad thing. But when the insecurities become so overbearing that he's following you around, constantly checking, your location and doing things that make you feel like you're being suffocated, there's only so much nurturing, reassurance, and like feminine energy you can give until it starts to feel really crippling. And then, like I said, you have to have this kind of like leading standpoint where you tell him when to take a freaking shower, when to brush his teeth, when to, I don't know what you meant by basic hygiene, but I'm assuming that's basic, when to change his underwear. And like these things that is someone else's bodily autonomy and their own like responsibility, and all of a sudden you have to have that, is like uncanny, to be honest. Because even someone in their masculine who's leading a relationship isn't going to do that. This is like another level. What I can see here is a relationship that's going to continue in this pattern unless someone puts a stop to it, and clearly that person has to be you, because you haven't had the opportunity to really get to know him as a person and to learn his flaws, such as the ones you've mentioned, and make a good educated choice on whether or not you wanted to be with him at that point. Now that you're in the relationship, you're feeling all this pressure of like whether or not you want to stay, because there's all these downsides to the relationship. But underneath his like layers of imperfection and of flaws, you see like a good person. I think you're really idealizing this dream guy based on his potential, not what he's giving you. So there's a lot to work with here, and there's a lot to kind of figure out. But like I said, if something is going to change, it's going to need to come from you, because he's in a place where he's comfortable being, a little bit controlling, a little bit obsessive, getting the reassurance from you and being led by you. It's comfortable for him, and he needs to kind of get out of his comfort zone and find something that feels balanced, not something that just feels like he's never bothered, he's never compromising, he's always being like taken care of. Because realistically, both parties want to be taken care of, right? And at this moment in time, I don't think your needs are being taken care of. So it's either going to come down to a very in-depth conversation with your boyfriend about what you would like to change and what he can do in terms of changing, and be very realistic about this, or it's going to be you exiting the relationship. This, at the end of the day, is up to you, because you did say, how do I find a way to make this healthy? Is it even possible? From what I read, he has been very affectionate and supportive and patient with you. He has very good qualities. Just because someone is not leading you and is insecure doesn't mean they're a bad person necessarily. Like, they could be a very good person, but it's up to you to decide what you're willing to deal with and for how long you're willing to deal with it. So if this controlling, nonchalant, lazy almost energy is continuing regardless of a conversation, regardless of working towards a certain goal together, regardless of you really communicating how you feel and trying to think of a plan in order to get to a place where you both feel comfortable and taken care of, if that is not changing, then I think that you leave. And that timeline, again, is up to you. I'd probably give it like 2-3 months, to be honest. It takes someone about 30 days to build up a new habit. So I think you're giving him more than enough time, because you will not feel happy. You will not feel comfortable. You'll be sacrificing your own needs, your own wants, your own livelihood for another person who wouldn't do the same for you. If they're not adjusting the way that they function, if they're not adjusting how they are able to care for you based on your needs, then why are you doing the same for them? You know what I mean? Again, doesn't mean they're a bad person. It can mean that they are very affectionate, very loving, have all of these great attributes, but the negative is outweighing the positive at the moment. And if there isn't a shift there, if there isn't some kind of like positive progression in the right way, then I don't think that there's a purpose for you remaining in a relationship where you're going to continue to be unhappy. All right, I'm going to take a sip of my tea because I think I actually killed it with that one. I have a little green tea with some honey in it. So delish. I've been such a tea drinker lately, and I worry so much. This is a stupid thing to worry about, but I worry a lot about my teeth getting really yellow because I drink like coffee every day as well. And then all of a sudden I became like a tea drinker to the point where sometimes I'll have a tea like at work during the day, and then I'll have one in the evening because it's just so cozy and nice. So now that's 2 teas staining my teeth per day, and then a coffee staining my teeth per day. That's a lot. Okay, here is the next one. Hi, Alex. I'm a huge fan of your YouTube channel and your content. You're literally my favorite YouTuber, and I still watch YouTube because of you. Thank you. That's the sweetest thing in the world. My question for you is, what are some actual realistic ways you can meet a guy in this generation? I don't go clubbing or to bars or in any environment of that sort because it's not my scene. And I'm really not a dating app girl. That'll never happen. I'm asking this as I'm an introverted 23-year-old girl with a little social anxiety. It's not that I don't know how or can't socialize. I'm great if I need to. I just choose not to because I rarely take interest in people on a deeper level. My goal recently is to socialize more and give myself more chances to meet people and connect in general, but specifically to guys. Also, forgot to mention, I'm a makeup artist, so I work with gay men and women, lol. So there's really no chance in meeting a guy at work either. I know for a fact this is an issue a lot of girls my age struggle with, and I know you're great at giving advice, so help a girl out. Love you. I love you too. That is so sweet. This is a very interesting question, actually, because I can really resonate with your situation, because at a certain point in time, I was also 23. I was also not really going out much. I mean, I was going out, but I will never recommend meeting a man at a club or at a bar or in that nature, like a random man. I don't know. It works for some people, but statistically, it doesn't work for a lot of people. I do have a friend where it worked for her, and they're in a great relationship. So I don't want to like stray too much on that, but I just personally wouldn't recommend it based off of like the people that I would see in those situations in clubs. And I don't like the culture of clubbing so much, especially with how men kind of look at it as like it's a like fashion show place to flex their money. It's just not fun. So like I said, I was in a similar situation, and I found myself, I mean, I wasn't looking for a relationship, but I definitely can see how at that moment in my life, it would have been very difficult to find someone. Like it's almost like borderline impossible. A subject for another day, and a subject that I might want to talk about in another podcast, is how disconnected our world is as well, our society is. And I feel like that plays into the part that so many people are finding it difficult to meet genuine other human beings that they like, because there's just such a separation between people, and there's no like common ground for people to meet each other in an organic, normal way. I've heard so many people say like, oh, I would love to just like go to the grocery store, to a coffee shop and meet someone. But like the chances of this happening, especially if you are like yourself saying you have a little bit of social anxiety, you're not the best at socializing with people, although you can if you want to, but chances are you're not just going to want to walk up to a random person and start yapping to them. I was completely the same as well. I still am. But like when I was single, I was also exactly the same. So what ended up happening for me, which I've probably told this story so many times, is that I met my boyfriend at the gym. So with that being said, I think my advice here would be to search and to put yourself in positions where you have the opportunity to meet new people. That means collective spaces like gyms, workout classes, which I know is more heavily women. I mean, gyms only if you like it, right? Like hobbies that can be classes, sports classes, tennis class, like things that get you out of the house, right? Are something you might enjoy, something that would be fun for you, and allow you to be a little more social. You could even take it up a notch. You could even sign up for trips. You could go on like excursions with groups of like strangers who do that. You could join Run Club. Oh my gosh, I've been hearing so much about Run Club. I think that's what it's called, where people like in the same city gather every week on Sundays and they all go for a run, and it becomes like a thing. Like everyone becomes friends with each other. Like I find that so cute. Would I ever participate? Absolutely not. The stamina I have is not something that can participate in that. But regardless, things like that, unfortunately, we have to push ourselves into scenarios where we can meet people if this is a goal, you know? Nothing in life, unfortunately, comes easy. And because of, like I said, how separated our society is and how much we're like not in positions to meet people organically the same way it would have been prior to this generation of like media, puts us at a disadvantage to meet new people. That goes for friends as well. If you guys are listening to this and you're like, oh, well, even making new friends is difficult, like this advice applies in that same sense, because if we want something, we got to find a way to make it happen. And I think that the best way to do that right now would be to put yourself in things, like I said, clubs, communities, even like a church if you're religious, and meeting people in that way, because I feel like churches have really big communities. Learn a new language, start going to a new class just for fun. Like there's things that I think could open up your horizon and definitely open you up to meeting new people who, at the end of the day, meeting more people means having more connections, means networking, means opening up your like plethora of people that you know, and that you can all benefit each other in future life. You know, it's not always like, oh, well, can I date this man? Maybe you can meet a girl and her brother's single. Are you kidding? There you go. You know what I mean? Like keep it open, keep it flowing, open yourself up to situations and opportunities you might not have done before, because in your situation here with your job, like you said, with your not enjoying going out to clubs and bars and no dating apps, which also I never liked dating apps either. So yeah, if your goal is to socialize more, find ways and opportunities to get your foot in the door to communities that are accepting new people. And I think that would be really fun. Honestly, I should just even do that, because I can never have too many friends. And honestly, I don't have that many. So I should even do the same. I think that's really fun. And also, an added piece of advice on top of that is don't put too much pressure on finding a man in these scenarios, because I do believe that like when this person is like meant to come into your life, when you're meant to find a relationship, that's when you'll meet someone who will align really well with you. Forcing it, I think, just never really works out for the better, and kind of always leads to disappointment somehow, some way. Again, like in my position, I was in no like state to be looking, not state. I was in no position to be looking for a relationship, and I genuinely wasn't. It fell into my lap, truly, and I couldn't say no. So yeah, there's my advice. Sorry, I yapped a lot. Rambled on with that one. All right, the next one. Oh, I gotta readjust my body. Sorry if I look a little funky here. The sun is really setting in the background, so I do apologize. about this lighting. It's also so sad. I'm going to be done doing this. It's going to be pitch dark. Anyways, I have been dating this guy for a month, and while things feel great between us, I'm struggling with something he shared about his past. He was in a long-distance relationship for 5 years and cheated multiple times, but he never told his ex. He explained it as a low point for him. He felt insecure, had low self-worth, and believed that relationship was the best he could get. He says he's grown since then and wouldn't repeat those mistakes. I've been open about my own past mistakes, and he was honest with me about his, even though it could have been a deal breaker. We both relate to each other in terms of self-improvement and moving forward, and I really enjoy being with him. But I still feel uneasy about the secrecy about his past infidelity and wonder if he's truly changed. I'd appreciate any thoughts or advice on whether this is something I should let go of, or if it's a red flag I should take seriously. This one is so complicated for me because I have a very prominent perspective on cheating, and I would never accept someone who has cheated in the past and or cheated on me. So I don't know, hearing this one, it's like I have to try to put myself in the position of another person who might feel like that person has actually changed and can move forward. Because saying things like this, he was honest with me about it when he had the opportunity to, right? Even though it could have been a deal breaker. They relate to each other in terms of self-improvement, and she really enjoys being with him. Okay, wait, that's not a lot of positive. The one thing that made me question this was the fact that he said it, although it could have been a deal breaker for you. That almost makes me trust him to a certain extent, because I believe when people say things and are openly honest and over communicate almost to a certain degree about things that they know another person could just up and leave them for, but they still have that like openness in them to explain that, that's a green flag for me. I think that shows one, like a level of emotional vulnerability to be able to feel safe with another person enough to explain them something that was challenging in their past and that they did bad, like they weren't proud of their actions in the past, and they want to share that with you to be open. And two, I don't know why I said 1 and 2, I lost my train of thought, but anyways, in my position, I would be extremely skeptical. I would also similarly feel like I wouldn't be able to handle that secrecy. I already kind of have this negative mentality, which I've worked on very, very hard, okay, in the past couple of years in therapy and like just learning about myself, that I can't trust men and they will disappoint me. So given, you know, a relationship where like I'm in and that didn't happen and I already have those feelings, I don't think I'd be able to deal with someone who had done that in the past. So for me personally, I think I'd pass, simply on the fact that I would want to protect my own peace. And I know my own past, my traumas, the things that have hurt me, and I know that putting myself in a position to risk that, if that makes sense, with a person who has done that in the past, and not once but multiple times, and never owned up to it to their ex, which I do feel like would have changed my feelings a little bit if they were open about it and if they were honest with the person they actually cheated on and not myself and or you in this example. Yeah, I don't think I would be able to trust someone like that. And that's not to say that they didn't change. That definitely could have happened. They could have for sure grown as a person, like left that in the past, the cheating ways in the past, and just really, you know, improved. But I don't know. I don't think I could do it. I really don't. And in your position, I would really question, you know, have you had bad experiences in the past where you have been cheated on? Do you have trust issues? Do you find it difficult to trust people? If the answers to that are yes, I don't think you should set yourself up for a relationship with someone where now that feeling is going to be heightened because of their past, because that has been proven correct to a certain extent. And honestly, maybe this advice is really bad. Maybe a therapist would say differently. Maybe someone who knows a lot more about this stuff would say differently, because I know I'm very biased in this answer. So apologies for my bias. But what would I do? I'd leave. See ya. Okay, guys, I'm sorry if things are moving around with the camera if you're watching on YouTube. I'm just like a mess today, and I didn't charge my batteries, so I've been like switching out battery packs. So this is like not going smoothly, but I hope it's looking a little smoother on your end. This one says, I have a situation. What would you do if every time you bring up a problem, they always fight back and call you names, disgusting names, and raise their voice at you? I've already made it clear to talk properly. However, the person doesn't listen to understand. The person listens to fight back. I feel like the obvious answer is to leave the toxic, immature person. However, would you leave someone you have been with for 8 years? Within the 8 years, it's always been about him. All these years that pass, I'm kind of tired of waiting for him to be different. I always think I should help him be a better person, but again, he always fights back and tells me that I do not own him. So, reading this, I feel very sorry, first of all, for you being in that position, because it's such a crappy position to be in, feeling like you have no power left because that person has essentially taken it. Like, there is no sense of union. There's no sense of two people working together. And I'm going to obviously assume that the person you're talking about is someone you're in a relationship with. What's so important in a relationship is two people working together to understand each other. And if you don't have a partner who's able to do that for you, you're going to be really, really lonely. You're going to feel very lonely in your losses and your successes going through life. Like, the least you can ask of someone is to hear you out, is to acknowledge your opinion, is to acknowledge your emotions. And if someone's not capable of doing that, you don't need to be with them. And I know, like you said, like, what if I've been with them for 8 years? What if it's hard to leave someone like that? And here's what I'll say is, I think based off of the average age of people listening to me, 8 years ago, you were probably very young and you probably didn't know as much. You probably didn't know better. So being with someone like him, you weren't really able to detect, like, oh, is this going to be someone that I can work with? Is this going to be someone who's going to listen to me, who's going to respect me, who's going to be there for me, who's going to support me, who's going to do the things that I need them to do in a relationship and that you would probably do for them? As the years have progressed, as you've learned more about this person, as they have started to treat you in certain ways, talk to you really meanly, say disgusting words to you, call you names, raise their voice at you, like things like this, once these things have started to happen, it's almost as if you've been so accustomed to the way that they act and so used to them as a person that you don't want to lose them. So you begin to accept the way that they treat you. You begin to accept the way that they speak to you and the shitty things that they do to you. The more time passes, the more comfortable you become with the uncomfort that is your relationship. And I don't blame you for staying with someone who's hasn't been treating you the best, because chances are you don't know what being treated well feels like. If you had experienced a relationship that was uplifting, that allowed you to have a voice, that would understand you, acknowledge your opinion, that doesn't mean you're always right or the other person's always wrong. It just means you collaborate, you work together. There's an even amount of you're right and I'm wrong, and I'm right and you're wrong. And if you were able to experience that kind of relationship and then compare it to the one you're in now, I promise you, you would have been there for a much shorter amount of time, because you'd be able to understand that there are people out there that will respect you and that will treat you the way that you need to be treated in a relationship in order to flourish. So my advice to you wouldn't be to try and figure out whether or not you should be helping him or whether or not you should stay in the relationship. It would be, how do you get out? It would be figuring out a way to get the support that you need from the people around you, your family, your friends, the people that you love, to tell them what's been going on, to explain to them, like, this is my situation and I want out. I need you to hold me accountable. Because although I didn't get too much context, I can very clearly understand from this message that there's a lot of verbal and emotional abuse going on. And in abusive situations, it can be really hard to leave because your mental health is just like not proper, and your self-esteem comes with that, your confidence comes with that, your ability to decide things for yourself comes with that as well as a result. So if you're explaining to these people that you love and telling them, this is my decision, I need you to help me, I need you to help me stay accountable to it, I need you to help me get out, I want to, set my boundaries with this person, make sure they know that I'm not in it anymore. I don't want to be treated this way. I don't want to be with you anymore. There's no going back. There's no taking you back. There's no backward steps from here, because after 8 years, and I'm sure it's probably hasn't been a solid 8 years. It's probably been a back and forth. Should I leave? Should I go? You leave for a bit. You come back. Like, after you have had that experience, it's time for you to be free. It's time for you to let it go. It's time for you to leave it in the past and to fight for a better future for yourself, because it's out there. I'm telling you, there's someone who's going to treat you properly out there. And that doesn't mean you need to be with somebody now. That could mean you're going to take time for yourself to heal from this situation, to spend time with loved ones, to get a good track on your life, to make sure you're going in the direction that you want to be in. And then you can go and find someone who's going to be there and support you. And as much as like this situation has hurt you, it has probably skewed your image of relationships as well. So making sure that you're healed enough to enter a new relationship in the future is important too, because you don't want to be in a low state of mind. You don't want to be unhappy with yourself to the point where you accept another person who's a replica of your ex back into your life. So find your support system, reach out to your family, reach out to your friends, tell them what you want to do, which is to leave this person, and let them help you. Take time for yourself, set boundaries with this person, make sure that they're not trying to come back into your life every chance that they get, and make sure you're not accepting little crumbs from them like you might have done in the past. And yeah, I believe in you. This is like a very hard situation to be in. Trust me. Like, I can understand it to such a slight degree. Like, I've never been in a position like that, to have been treated badly for 8 years and, find it hard to leave. But I've definitely been in a position where I was struggling leaving a person who didn't deserve to be with me in the first place, So I believe in you, and I hope that advice helped you. Okay, guys, final question. This is a long one, so bear with me and my reading. Hi, Alex. I hope you're doing well. He mentions his name, but I don't want to include it, just to keep it anonymous. I have a very deep topic I'd like to share and get your advice on. Almost 2 years ago, I met this girl in college. We became very close and basically best friends. We ended up talking all day, every day, and I started to catch feelings for her. I've never felt this kind of love for anyone in my life. We kept our situationship/friendship very tight up until her birthday this past August. We had our ups and downs the entire time, and she knew I loved her. She also didn't feel the same way back, but still showed signs to why that might not be true. We were friends with benefits and all the above. We were practically dating, just without strings attached. She happened to have a crush on another guy while we were in college, but still did everything with me as before. Fast forward, we remained the same, but we graduated in June from college. We still hung out over the summer as well many times. I kept hope that maybe we could date in the future. However, the only problem would be her entertaining other people and her studying abroad in a year in Barcelona. She left at the end of August. I went down and saw her on her birthday the day before she left. I knew she would live her life, in quotes, in Spain and not remain loyal to me because she obviously had no obligation towards me either. I made the conscious decision to unadd her on everything and cut contact when she left. I wanted to protect my peace and to also stop some of the pain she caused me, being her talking to other guys, possibly because she wasn't trying to date, as she said, because she was going to Spain for so long. Despite all of that, I still love her. A part of me wants to wait or even reach out. I'm unsure of what I should do. Is she the one? Did I make a mistake? Will she love me the way I want her to when she gets back? I've been struggling with this for over a month now. She's reached out a couple of times, but I just never respond. The last time was last month. I miss her. I made a whole song about her too, which I'd love for you to hear. I'll make sure to add it to this email as well. What do you think I should do? Something is keeping me attached to her despite my efforts. I feel like she could be the one, but also her past actions do not back that up. Oh my God, my friend. This is so cute, but heartbreaking at the same time, because what a bad situation to be in. What a heartbreaking situation to be in. This is the unreciprocated love trope, truly, and not to make light of your situation at all. It's just a common theme, it seems, in society and in life. And one thing I do applaud you for is being very open about your feelings and being very emotionally available, regardless of the way that you've been treated by this girl and her not openly reciprocating the same love that you have for her. So what I hope at the end of all this you continue to have is that amount of like emotional availability and vulnerability, because I think it's really beautiful. I think it's really like sweet to see a man, first of all, have that, and secondly, someone who is being hurt by another person still have that same amount of love. Now, with that being said, I think that that is something that you should consider, the fact that you are the person who is capable of all that kind of love. You are the person that has that love to give. So to answer your question, no, I don't think she's the one, because I think the one would be someone who would reciprocate those feelings to you. As simple as that. I think someone who doesn't have the same vulnerability and emotional availability that you have is not someone that is your soulmate or is the one or is someone that you should want to wait for. It's difficult when you're in the midst of the emotion, because I'm speaking with absolutely no emotional ties to the situation. So I'm looking at it without bias and without any part of me that is hurt from the situation. So obviously, that's probably why you asked for my advice. I think that looking at it from this perspective makes it really easy to see that you deserve, again, same as the last question I got, you deserve someone who's able to reciprocate the energy that you're willing to give. And it seems as though she's had opportunity and opportunity to be the person that you wanted her to be in the relationship, to be able to withstand the role of a relationship, I guess would be the right word. And she hasn't been able to do that. Like you said, she's hurting you in a sense of not wanting to commit and not wanting to be loyal. Again, I don't want to paint her out as a villain, because it doesn't mean that she is a villain. It means that, it's not the right time for her to be in a relationship. And do I agree with the thought process, right person, wrong time? Not so much. I think for the right person, it is the right time. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what time it is if it's the right person. And that's not to say that, who knows, in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, she might come around. But that also doesn't mean that you should wait for her. Because waiting for her means you're closing yourself off to any other doors that comes to love and relationships and meeting new people. And the only thing that that's going to do is push you back. It's going to hinder you from clearly your ability to be very open and love people, which is a gift, truly, to have that and to be able to express your feelings the way that you do, which, going back to my first point, means that the love that you have comes from you, not from her, meaning anyone that you choose to love is the one. Okay, wait, I feel like I made that so confusing. What I'm trying to say is love at the end of the day is a choice. You have so much love in you. You're choosing to give your love to her, which in the moment you're thinking, oh, well, she's the one, right? Well, no, because you could meet someone in a year, a completely different person who has the same feelings for you, wants to commit to you, wants to be loyal to you. You have all that love inside of you. Now you're going to go give it to this new person. You're going to make the conscious choice to do that and to love them. Are they the one? Right now, they are. Being the one is also your choice. It's your choice 10 out of 10 times to fall in love with someone. If you meet the most perfect person in the world and you don't want to fall in love with them, don't spend time with them and you won't fall in love with them. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? Like the people that we choose to spend time around, the people that we choose to, put our energy into, that we end up liking them, end up, being attracted to them, and we continue to put our efforts into them, of course you're going to fall in love with them. Of course. What do you expect? And, chances are she probably had deep feelings for you as well. But what matters is what you do with that love. I feel like I'm rambling. Sorry. I feel like I'm kind of confusing you. Okay, let's go backwards. What do we do about this situation? I think you made the right move, consciously backing off, unfollowing her, and taking a step back from communicating with her. 100%, I think that was the right move, because you've clearly invested a part of yourself where you're being loyal, you're trying to commit to her, and she's not doing the same. I think it's unfair. It's unfair if you put everything else to the side for her and she's not doing the same for you. She's reaching back out to you because, yeah, she misses you. Of course. She likes you, probably, yes. She has feelings for you, probably, yes. So I'm not surprised that she's reaching back out to you, but that doesn't change anything. The only thing that would change something is if she decided she wanted to commit herself to you, that she wanted to reciprocate the same energy that you have been giving to you as well. I think that's the only thing that I would say, okay, let's take baby steps, mind you, because why'd she just change her mind now in a hypothetical situation? Take baby steps and pursue the relationship the way you intended it to. But if that doesn't happen, which also don't get your hopes up for it, then you need to do what's right for you. And that would be taking a step back, reevaluating, realizing that just because you felt the strong emotion for one person doesn't mean you're never going to feel that again for another person. Because what I can bet on is that people will love multiple people in their lives. I think, at least, unless you have a high school sweetheart, you get married to them and all that good stuff. But let's say if you've gone through a heartbreak, you're 1000% going to love another person again. And I have no doubt about that. No doubt at all. So take my word for it. She's not the only person that you're going to love. She's not the one. The one is who you choose the one to be. And continue on your journey to learning more about yourself, to figuring yourself out, to staying true to your own boundaries, to realizing like, hey, I have so much love to give. I have so much, goodness to give to another person. Let's give it to someone who truly deserves it. Let's give it to someone who's going to be able to be uplifted by the love, to reciprocate it. I can help them be a better person. They can help me, there's so much beauty in it. Like, you want to be very conscious with who you decide to give that to, because it's a gift. Like I said, your love is a gift, 110%. Okay, I don't know yet if I can add this song because I need to contact this person back and ask if I can add this song into the episode. So if it's in right now, that means that they said yes, but I do want you to hear it because I did listen to it. We're just going to do like a quick, couple seconds of the song. I just want to say I was completely bamboozled with the fact that someone actually sang, wrote, recorded, produced this and listens to this podcast and drop this song. I was like, okay, maybe this is like a fake story and someone's like actually just wants to promote their music, which could be true, but regardless, good story, good class act. Okay, ready?
It took a while to meet you. A lot of nights watching the fire flicker over the stone. It took a while to meet you. Then I saw you for the first time. Wish you didn't dance alone. So make me as you are. You see right through the dark, my love. Make me as you are. I always go too far.
Okay, that's all I'm gonna add in, but did your heart not just break a little bit? Are you kidding? I don't want to like say your name because I'm like I keep these anonymous, but you're so talented. Like I still like for some reason can't put the pieces together that this could be like a real person actually like have made this song and be like in this genuine situation. Like it makes me feel like this is like fake because it's that good. Regardless, you're so talented. You have big things coming for you, sir. Don't even worry. Don't even worry about this, girl. Anyways, that was all my advice for you guys this episode. It's been fun. It's been a little stressful for me. I wish you guys saw what I was doing behind the camera this whole time with my battery pack continuously dying, which it's about to again. But I love you guys so much. Rate the podcast, comment down below any advice that you would give these people as well. And yeah, that's it. I'll talk to you in my next episode. Bye. Love you.